Drag us to the lab, let us wear protective shades. Let us mix suspicious goo in poorly labeled trays. In other words, clear the room. In other words, something may go boom. Red frog has a flask, blue frog found a brain in brine. Neither one can read the notes, but both say this is fine. In other words, trust our skill. In other words, please ignore that smoking hill. Fill our jars with slime. Let us test what slime can do. Is it fuel? Is it alive? Did it just salute frog blue? In other words, science calls. In other words, we have melted 3 walls. Red frog shouts eureka, blue frog screams it has a face. Now the latest specimen is sprinting round the place. In other words, note success. In other words, do not open drawer 6. Drag us to the lab, let us prove what frogs can be. Monstrous, proud, and mildly banned from every academy. In other words, we're elite. In other words, mind the tentacles beneath your feet.